Now, the much talked about special prosecutor the Akufo-Addo-led government is hoping will lead the anti-corruption charge will be assured of a 7-year tenure. The security of tenure, according to Deputy Attorney General Joseph Kpenka, is critical as it would give the office holder the much needed confidence and authority to prosecute without fear of being removed from office by a government that feels threatened. At a stakeholder consultative meeting held in Accra on the draft bill for the rule, the Attorney General Gloria Kufu says the public and civil society organizations will have the opportunity to make input. Matilda Omega has more.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor is a campaign message by the NPP administration as a way of addressing corruption. Deputy Attorney General Joseph Kpenka explains the bill is expected, among other things, define modalities for the appointment and operations of the Special Prosecutor. In an interview with Joy News, he explained why the security of tenure is so important.
Unlike we have in the case of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, who is hired and fired at the pleasure of the President, this will not be the case because the person is appointed for a period of 7 years. And within that 7 years, unless there's anything he has done contrary to what he's supposed to do, in which case processes such as the removal of a Superior Court justice will be triggered for the person to be removed from office. He cannot be hired and fired at the pleasure of the President. Because of that issue of security of tenure, it will be a spectacular guarantee for the person to be able to perform his functions without fear of removal or intimidation from any person.
Speaking earlier at the workshop to seek input and recommendations into the first draft of the Special Prosecutor's Bill, Attorney General Gloria Kufu said additional inputs will be sought before it is passed into law.
Is to seek your valued inputs and recommendations on the first draft of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Bill as developed by my office. We are hopeful that your input and recommendations will inform and shape the development of the draft bill prior to its finalization and submission to Cabinet for its approval before it is laid before Parliament.
She called for dispassionate discussions to enable the creation of a truly independent office to deal with the public sector corruption.
We believe that the establishment of a dedicated anti-corruption office vested with investigative, prosecutorial, and asset recovery authority will result in an improved execution of our anti-corruption efforts rather than a continued reliance on multi-purpose or mixed mandate agencies. The objective of this stakeholders workshop.
The bill is expected to be laid before Parliament after it has gone through the consultative drafting stages among stakeholders. Meanwhile, some participants at the event, private legal practitioner and Vice President of Imani Ghana, Kofi Bentil, says apart from the independence the Special Prosecutor is expected to enjoy, there is a need to ensure efficient management of the office.
So we should be careful that as we legislate this security of tenure thing, we don't throw out effectiveness. And if we have security of tenure without effectiveness, there must be a way by which we, remove that person and put somebody else in. And I think Parliament will be a very useful institution in doing that.
The Special Prosecutor's Office is expected to be functional within 6 months.
The Circuit Court in Koforidua in the Eastern Region has granted bail to 12 suspects who allegedly attacked the Somenya District Police Command and destroyed several properties. The protesters, who were said to have been instigated by an assemblyman in the area, also attacked the Electricity Company of Ghana offices in the town. The Koforidua Circuit Court, presided over by Anna Mercy Adai Kote, granted each of the suspects a 70,000 Ghana cedi bail with 2 sureties each. Eastern Region correspondent Kofi Sian joins me with more. Hello, Kofi. Now, please recap the story for us, will you? It all started as a protest over high electricity tariffs.
Yes, indeed, Israel. Some few weeks ago, the residents of Somenya, led by the assemblyman for Starway electoral area, led some residents to the ECD office in Somenya, and they were in protest of what they call or what they describe as high electricity tariffs. So when they go there, they had to attack the office of the electricity company in Somenya, and one of their leaders, that is the assemblyman for the area, was arrested. So the residents stormed the police station in protest of the arrest of the assemblyman. And when they got there, they met the resistance of the police officers there. And they also attacked the police station as well and set ablaze the vehicle of the police in Somé. So that resulted in the arrest of some 12 persons, including the assemblyman himself. So they were brought to court today, and the court ensured that they have been in court for some time now, I beg your pardon, and they've been remanded on 2 occasions. So they were brought in court today, and their lawyer ensured that the court granted them bail.
All right, Kofi. So on what basis, what were the arguments that the lawyer advanced for each region the judge this time around decided to grant them bail?
Well, the lawyer cited 2 instances. He said first that some of his clients were not in good health. In fact, he said that, for example, the assemblyman for Sawe electoral area, health condition is very deteriorating. So he argued that the court grants him bail. And also, he argued also that as long as they remain in court, they are being trampled upon. And if eventually it comes out that they are innocent, then it means they've not been treated well. So the judge upheld the argument of the lawyer and decided to grant them bail.
All right, thank you very much, Edwin Kofi Siong, bringing us the very latest on the issue there at the Koforidua Circuit Court. Now, the Association of Rural Banks says the mobile money service has caused a drop in remittances through banks and profit, resulting in declining profits. Customer base of the rural banks is also under serious threat as money transfer schemes offer competitive services. Head of banking operations at ARB Apex Bank, Maxwell Donko, tells Love News the transfer service compliance makes withdrawal of remittances difficult. He spoke at the Funds Transfer Conference for Rural and Community Banks in Kumasi. Nana Aljima reports.
Remittances through Western Union reduced slightly from over 106 million cedis in June 2016 to about 103 million cedis over the same period this year. MoneyGram dropped from over 38 million to just about 36 million cedis, while Apex Link witnessed a dip from 247 million cedis to 243 million cedis in the review period. Some financial sector players review continued fall in remittances can negatively affect rural banking in the country. They are proposing measures to ensure banks stay afloat amid competition.
Because previously, if you see the kind of income that we get from remittances as compared to what we are getting today, is seriously affecting our businesses because remittances have dropped, especially to rural banks. But the innovations that we are now proposing is to introduce technology and also expand our pay points, like bringing in super merchants, just like how they have these merchants. It is important we also have merchants that are other pay outlets, increase our pay outlets so that we don't only enter the rural bank to access your money, but you can also access it just like you access other remittances by the roadside.
This remittances issue, for instance, the mobile money or other electronic money transfers, the agents will still have to use an outlet, such as a bank, to be able to accept deposits and then also have access to physical cash to provide to the clients. We are the banks that are, rural banks are there to meet that more effectively.
Meanwhile, the ARB Apex Bank is set to introduce a new money transfer system through mobile phone technology. Mr. Donko explains.
So what the Apex Bank has done is to introduce a competing product that will match that of the mobile money. And the product is called UConnect. Every rural bank customer who has a mobile phone can move for money because the mobile phone will be linked to the customer's account. So a customer can be in his room and move money from their traditional account, be in savings or current account, to the mobile wallet on the mobile phone, and then move it across. And besides, we have also done a reduction of the pricing, which is lower than the mobile money. So it's because of the clients that we are introducing this. So it is very convenient, very simple to operate. So it is.
Nana Aljima reporting.
You're watching Joy News Prime. It's still to come in the bulletin. We have all the boss controversies regarding the contaminated fuel. All that and more coming up. Please stay tuned. The first president of independent Zambia, Dr. David Kaunda, has urged President Akufo-Addo to continue to shine the torch of Africa and help deliver the progress and prosperity for the long-suffering masses of Africans. According to Dr. Kaunda, President Akufo-Addo's contribution would make a huge difference, not only for Ghana, but for Africa and the world as a whole.
Your Excellency, I say congratulations for recently being elected to office by the people of Ghana. Your contribution as president can make some huge difference, not only for Ghana, but Africa and the world as a whole. Your becoming president of Ghana has become at a very remarkable time for Ghana and Africa. This year, 2017, marks 60 years since Ghana became independent. I was privileged, like many others from Africa and other parts of the world, to have been invited to Ghana's historic independence celebrations. I went at the invitation of Kwame Nkrumah and the people of Ghana. The occasion was inspiring. Ghana was a pioneer. Indeed, as Kwame Nkrumah, that great child of Ghana and the world, used to sing, it was about Africa rising and shining. Ghana contributed greatly to the independence of Zambia and the other countries. Your Excellency, continue to shine the torch of Africa. Again, I say, welcome.
President Akufo-Addo, who is on a 3-day state visit of the Zambia, on his part underscored the importance of African leaders working together to achieve the common goal of development and improvement in the living standards of the African people.
We came yesterday, and it was extremely important that I come and pay my respects and visit you, because you are the symbol of that relationship. It was between you and Dr. Nkrumah who forged that relationship between our two countries, and who also worked to ensure the freedom of our continent. You are the icons for our generation, those who fought for our independence and freedom. So long as you're alive and somebody like me comes to them, I have to come and pay my respects and see how you're doing and say thank God for your life and for the contribution that you have made for the independence and the development of our continent. It's extremely important that we continue to understand that we are one. Our circumstances are the same, and we have to continue to work together across these colonial boundaries to ensure that the welfare and progress of our people across the continent are the main considerations for those of us who have been blessed with the privilege of political leadership.
The residents of Vakpo-Konda farming community in the North Dai district of the Volta region have appealed to the Akufo-Addo-led government to ensure their community receives development. According to the residents, Vakpo-Konda was neglected and denied development projects by the erstwhile National Democratic Congress government because of their support for the New Patriotic Party. An opinion leader, Joseph Darlington Fukafa, made the appeal on behalf of the community at the North Dai Constituency Delegates Congress of the NPP hosted in the community. Fred Kwame Asari's report.
Joseph Darlington Fukafe lamented the community lacks basic amenities such as good access road and a basic school, and pleaded with government to provide these amenities to contribute and develop the community. He indicated that a wide forest reserve around the community, which contains various species of animals and trees, should be developed into a tourist site to improve on socio-economic activities in the area.
we, the people of Vakpo Konda, sincerely appeal to the Nana Addo government through the District Assembly to come to our aid, especially for our basic infrastructure needs. Most of all, primary school education for our children. We shall be grateful if the government will focus attention on the proposed bridge across River Dine to link Vakpo to Medan Road to Konda. Honorable ECP, we hope this will benefit the district because Konda has a potential tourist attraction with a thick forest around the community, which has beautiful birds and animals in it. If well managed, this could be a tourist center for the district.
The Volta Regional MPP Secretary Joseph Homega was grateful for their support since 2008 and promised government will reward the community for the love and commitment they have exhibited towards the MPP. He also urged party executives in the constituency to remain committed, adding they will be compensated in due time.
Vakpo Konda is a patriotic village, and I've witnessed how you were neglected by the previous government because you massively voted for NPP in 2008. But I'm assuring you that the Akufo-Addo-led government will pay you back adequately with development. The increase in total votes from 12% to 18% has won a good reputation for the NPP in the Volta region due to your hard work and dedication. I am grateful.
The North Dai District Chief Executive Edmond Atakujo urged party faithful to be united and commence working towards victory in 2020. He assured that the Assembly will tap into the tourism potential at Vakpo Konda.
It has tourist potential. And the idea is to bring the media so that they can sell Vakpo Konda further. Tell me about it. Media over ever coffee. Vakpo Konda will be the star of North Dai in a very soon time. That I can promise you.
Fed Kwame.
Now, schools for children with special needs are said to be reeling under financial pressure due to delayed release of feeding grants. Authorities of the Garden City Special School in Kumasi say they are yet to receive any money from government 7 months into the current term. Assistant head teacher Joshua Otu Abankwa says management is compelled by circumstances to seek public support. Chrissy Debra reports.
Mr. Otu Abankwa says suppliers are reluctant to give them food and other items on credit due to indebtedness to them. He says funding issues have compounded infrastructural and other challenges at the expense of teaching and learning.
Yeah, we have acquisition of teaching learning materials has been a problem to the school. You know, these students do not pay school fees. So everything comes from the feeding grant. And this feeding grant is not brought early. We are now in the 7th week, and it has not been brought from the government. So you can just imagine the stress we are passing through because these students do not pay school fees. So it's a problem. And also lack of infrastructure. If you look at this school, it serves the whole region. Yeah, so if you look at our facility, they are limited. So you want infrastructure expansion also.
Meanwhile, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association has reached out to the school with assorted food on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr. Ashanti Regional President Abdul Wahab Eduse draws public attention to obligations to the vulnerable in society.
God has categorically stated that all men are brothers. All men are brothers. And anyone who perceives another human being who is less privileged or less endowed in some aspect perceives that person as being below him. is someone who is arrogant, and an arrogant person does not find favor with God. I think that the general public should come to the realization that it is only by grace of God that they do not face some of the challenges that these kids are facing. And so they should accept them as human beings, as normal people, and try to, fraternize with them whenever they can, and give, whatever help that they can give to them.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Now you're watching Joy News Prime. Still ahead, Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company stands by its decision to get rid of contaminated fuel found at one of its depots, but insists their products has not found its way into vehicles on the country's roads, as claimed by ASEP. The minority in Parliament is meanwhile demanding a full-scale investigation into the transaction. It says has resulted in a loss of over 14 million cedis to the state. Business News is up next.
Hello, good evening. My pleasure to welcome you on tonight's Business Stories. Now, Ghana has so far lost $10 million following the ban on 5 vegetable exports into the European market. Poor inspection of infested vegetables was blamed for the ban. The Ghana Export Promotion Council, however, says it expects the ban to be lifted by September 21 this year, having put in place a laboratory and a traceability system to ensure quality compliance.
The image of Ghana as an exporter of good vegetable is somehow tarnished. 2, we're doing about $5 million exports per annum, so you can imagine. And then the income to farmers, they've lost all.
Moth and insect-infected vegetables were glossed over by the inspection organization PPISG, according to the Ghana Export Promotion Authority.
We're not getting our exports right in terms of insects that are harmful to the environment in the EU. Mostly false codling moth, FCM. Had been in some of our exports. They've alerted us on several occasions. We couldn't rectify it then.
Product Development Division Director Erasmus Ashon was, however, quick to add the organization was handicapped.
They've been assisted to have a lab, a diagnostic lab at Pokwasi. We have also written to all the airlines to make sure that they verify that all exports go with phytosanitary certificates.
Ghana was placed under the ban by the Food and Veterinary Office of the European Commission. The vegetables include chili, aubergine, gourd, amongst others. A tracking system to monitor to determine which vegetable farm an infected product is coming from has also been purchased to make sure Ghana gets back on track. A national task force since 2015 was set in place to make sure Ghana gets it right. When the European Union Inspectorate visits the country on September 12th, it is likely the ban may be lifted by the 21st. The image of Ghana has, however, been tainted, and it will take quite an effort to get the country back on track. If Ghana is able to export by September, it's likely to raise a little over $1 million.
The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEG, says its investigations till date indicate not a single liter of contaminated products discharged by the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Board has been returned to the company in Tema, where it was loaded from between Monday and Wednesday of last week. Both has been accused of releasing contaminated fuel into the market, and COPEG says it has so far received numerous complaints from consumers of these products across the country. COPEG is therefore calling on the public to help track and report any fuel station dealer found to be selling these contaminated products by reporting to the NPA and other authorities. Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amoah, expressed these sentiments earlier in an interview on Marketplace.
I am putting it to both that they have a cargo at Tor now that is being blended as we speak right now. And so that defense was not only needless, was not only bad, but it was totally, misleading. I can confirm to you clearly, without mincing words, that the reports we are getting from around is not very pleasant. Quite a number of people are already complaining that their vehicles seem to be giving them a certain reaction since the outbreak of this very story. And unfortunately, both seem to be on the defense, suggesting that they have done nothing wrong. But in the history of this country, we have not sold contaminated products to that tune at any point in time. And that is exactly why we are worried. Boss is treating this issue with the kind of storage it's given all of us. Unfortunately, as we speak now, not a single liter of the product has been recalled from the market, and that leaves us further suspecting or believing that indeed the product is gone out to the public, and some firms could be discharging or dispensing this product to the unsuspecting public. We think this is sad, and sanctions must apply immediately. Officials who let us in taking this very reckless decision ought to be interdicted immediately, and where some are found culpable, prosecuted accordingly. Because this indeed is leaving all of us worried as to what we'll be taking into our view.
And that was Executive Secretary of COPEC Ghana, Duncan Amoah. Away from that, renowned economist Dr. Joe Abbey has downplayed any negative impact of the Chinese financial package to Ghana on the public debt stock. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, after his recent visit to China, announced the country is expected to receive a total amount of $15 billion from the Chinese government and some private investors in that country. This includes the $3 billion CDB loan that was frozen by the Chinese government because of some concerns. There are fears this could quadruple the debt stock, which has reached $127 billion as of April this year. But economist Dr. Joe Abbey said the facility was arranged in a way that would not inflate the public debt.
If what I pick is correct, the answer is this, that this is collateralized. We are mortgaging, we are giving a part of our bauxite deposits. So it's not an addition to debt. It's like you acquire an asset and you give them an asset. So it's not the same as a loan that is going to pile up on our debt. So that's an ingenious financing plan. But we need to see what are we giving away. So if we've got billions of deposits, manganese, bauxite, let's leave gold and oil out for a moment, manganese and bauxite, if they can be properly assessed with the Chinese involvement, and we say, okay, we've got 100, take 20 in exchange for 20 to us, okay? Then there's not a debt. It's a trading of...
So it wouldn't add up to our debt?
It will be a swap up. It will be a swap that I have an asset which is desirable to you. Okay, fine. So I give you so much. It's like we used to give land for development. So you go to the chief, and the chief gives the land, and in turn you develop a project there. So I'm interested to know this financing arrangement. We cannot afford debt at this time, and all the nice talk of being self-financing projects is all talk, because I would like that demonstrated to the people of this country which project is self-financing. So I'm saying that there is something, it comes at an important time. Because if we are truly collateralizing and we are saying to them, we are selling to you this house, this property, and in exchange for that, we sell it, so you give us the money, and you own now this property. If it's a mineral, you can dig it out. Okay? So if that is the case, then this doesn't add to debt. It's just it's a swapping of an asset which Ghana owns today and saying, give us cash for it. So we are selling.
Meanwhile, Deputy Finance Minister Kweku Kwarteng has assured the whole financial arrangement would soon be laid before Parliament for the required scrutiny. He has, however, rubbished assertions the whole facility would hurt the economy. Away from that, CEO of the Youth Enterprise Support, YES, John Kuma, says government by July 13 will fold the organization up and come up with a new initiative. The yet-to-be-established organization is expected to satisfy the needs of both the youth and older people interested in entrepreneurial development with an initial investment seed of $10 million.
It is going to be rebranded into the new program called the National Entrepreneurship and Innovations Plan, which is NEP.
The Youth Enterprises Support. Originally, we had a certain X amount of money, about 10 million Ghana cedis. I want to find out from you exactly what is the state.
Well, the Youth Enterprise Support was set up with a seed fund of 10 million cedis, as you have said, but that was in 2014. As we speak, all the funds has been exhausted. And of course, there's a new government with a new vision for youth employment and entrepreneurship. At the moment, His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has a new focus and direction for youth entrepreneurship. And one of his flagship programs is the National Entrepreneurship and Innovations Plan. And the government has provided $10 million seed fund, which has to be scaled up to $100 million. And it is targeted at entrepreneurship and innovation, how to create more jobs, targeting masses, using technology and innovation.
And that's all we have for you in business tonight. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Wiafe. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Have a good evening.
Now, the minority in Parliament is demanding an immediate interdiction of the head of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transport Company over the raging controversy about contaminated fuel. They insist the circumstances under which 5 million litres of fuel was contaminated and sold under bizarre circumstances to a new company is dubious and has led to a 14.25 million cedi financial loss to the state. Minority spokesperson on energy Emmanuel Kofi-Boa told a media briefing in Accra the company that bought the fuel from Boss, Movimpina, has close ties with the current managing director of Boss, Alfred Obeng. They're describing the transaction as a corrupt deal.
The minority in Parliament has noted with grave concern the sale of contaminated fuel product to the tune of 5 million litres to a company known as Movimpina by the MD of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Limited under very dubious and bizarre circumstances, in another clear example of escalating corruption in the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government. The evidence available confirms that Movimpina company was the only company Boss dealt with in the sale of the contaminated product in a sole source transaction. This is very important. This is a company that has been preaching competitive bidding. We are here dealing with a company that was sole sourced, and that's very, very important. But what is more, and I think I'll get to that, it is therefore erroneous to suggest that sale was done under a competitive process. Further information available to us indicates that Movimpina Company Limited put in a proposal to purchase the fuel on the 19th of May, 2017. Interestingly, checks from the Registrar General's Department suggest that the company was incorporated to trade and transport fuel on the 29th of May 2017. Wow. So the company already won a 5 million litres when the company had not even been registered. It didn't exist. This clearly suggests collusion on the part of the actors. Information available before us also indicate that the managing director took a decision to grant Movimpina Company an open credit sales arrangement against all the advice from his own staff. Our check also indicates, the only thing we have is the regulatory institutions that will have teeth. we have information that the National Petroleum Authority, when they heard of this information, called BOSS not to send any of these products to the market. But they basically ignored them.
Former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor tells Joy News there are implications for road users as a result of the supposed release of the contaminated fuel onto the market.
A part of this contaminated product, if not the whole, is already on the market because the regulatory body, which is MPA, was not in a position to mount surveillance on the movement of the product because their initial directive had not been adhered to. And when contaminated products gets onto the market, vehicle engines are impacted negatively. The confidence of the consumer in the quality of the product is also affected. If you buy a contaminated product, anytime you are going to buy product again, you are worried. Therefore, there are also psychological issues to do with this, the psychology of the consumer. The money issue is not even the most important. It is the impact on the psychology of the consumer. It's on the impact of the integrity of the whole petroleum distribution system. And particularly when it emanates from a state-owned enterprise, then it becomes even worse.
Is there an additional risk in terms of issues relating to road safety and how this could impact that, you think?
Yeah, engines, I mean, if a petrol engine or a diesel engine is using a contaminated product, the engine can stall. And assuming you are descending a steep hill and your engine stalls, the possibility of accidents cannot be ruled out. We pray it doesn't happen, but it's always a possibility.
Right, so at the heart of the story is whether any of this contaminated fuel has made its way onto the market and probably ended up in your fuel tank. Now, BOST says that none of this has happened and that the fuel is sitting somewhere. There are, however, contradictions in the story we've been told so far. The public affairs manager of BOST, who spoke on Joy FM Super Morning Show, insisted none of the fuel had been released on the market and that only 2 tankers with 100,000 litres of the contaminated fuel had left the BOST depot. Now, the 100,000 figure is critical. Now, Ifua Obeng said the 2 trucks were still holding the 100,000 litres according to their checks and had not been discharged. Let's listen to her.
The 5 million litres is just less than, it's not even up to 100,000 litres that Zub has taken. We still have it at our APD depot.
What are you going to do with it?
We are waiting for them. They stagger the lifting.
4.9 million litres of off-spec
still product sitting at our depot thereabouts.
What are you going to do with it?
It's still for them.
For who?
For them, moving peanut to carry it on to Zub.
So they paid for it all?
Not all.
Okay.
Payment is being staggering, if I can recollect.
But you are essentially selling all of it to them.
Yes.
And the first 100,000 that you've given them, you can't account for it. You don't know where it is right now.
It's with Zub Oil.
That you said your system doesn't tell you where they've taken it. So how do you know it's with Zub Oil?
Kojo, the market out there is so safe. We are beckoning, just like ASAP has a genuine concern, and we are also, working together. If they think that, like you asked him, we need to know where have they located any, and we're actually pleading with the public. If you've gone to buy anywhere and you are so sure that you bought it from Zub Oil, and you feel that the off-spec product has reached your tank or a tank that you go and buy your fuel from, we need to know. Come to us. Yes, about 100,000 litres have left our APD depot, and it's currently at Zub Oil.
Okay.
We have gone there, and we know that it's sitting in there. They would have probably, let it go to the other places, the other customers that actually need it.
Right.
But because of this brouhaha that came up, we asked them to pause.
Okay.
To seize, and so they're still there.
All right, now, Roland Ayepa, the operations manager at Zub Oil, which is said to have taken delivery of the fuel, however, says they have over 400,000 litres of the contaminated fuel and not the 100,000 claimed by BOST.
We don't have tankers in our premises that are yet to be dispatched. We have taken delivery of the product which is contaminated, and we have put it in our storage facility.
What quantity are we talking about here? How much of that product do you have sitting in your storage right now?
471,000 liters.
471,000
liters.
1,000 liters. For the avoidance of doubt, how did you get that product in your storage facility?
We had them transported to our premises by 10 different RBV trucks.
From where?
From the Accra Plains. EPD, Accra Plains.
Is that a BOST facility?
It is a BOST facility, please.
Did you buy that? Did you buy the product?
Yes, we bought the product.
How much did you buy it for?
I am not privy to that information, sir.
Oh, you're the operations manager? You're the operations manager?
Yes, I am.
But you're not privy to how much you bought it for?
Yes, I am.
And you bought it from BOST?
We took it, I think, through Moving Pina.
Well, the Bulk Oil and BOST has actually sent some journalists round to inspect the facilities and where the contaminated fuel is being kept, and they have been speaking with journalists. Let's listen to the PRO of the Bulk Oil Transportation Company, except this time their figure has changed from 100,000 to 400,000.
171,000. Which is, initially you said it's 5 million.
5 million liters sold out.
Where are the rest?
The rest are at APD, our APD depot. That's our Accra Plains depot. The rest are there right now. And the key thing that we want the public to be aware of is that there's no contaminated product out there. You saw it yourself. He took you around how to open the valve. You saw that the products are sitting in the tank and no contaminated product is out there. So the public should be rest assured that there's no contaminated product out there. Very safe.
Now, the minority had a press conference. She said that the fuel was sold to your MD's company. How true is that?
That can never be.
Which company bought the contaminated fuel? Has it been sold?
Moving Pina, yes. 5 million liters, as said early.
Does your boss hold that company?
No.
He has no shares, he has no stake in this company?
Not at all.
But we understand some of the fuel are out there.
Out there?
Yes.
On the market?
Yes.
But you saw it yourself. You saw it yourself. The ones that Moving Pina sold off to the Zoop Oil, we've actually brought you here. We have reps from MPA here to also ascertain the facts of the issue. We also have Consumer Protection here to also bear witness to it. We've come here with you, and you know that they opened it, they showed you, they took you through how you can realize the products in their tanks. And you know for a fact now that the product is sitting in the tank and is not gone out there.
Well, also on the tour was a representative of the Consumer Protection Agency, Nana Prempeh Edu-Hene, and he says he's convinced that none of the fuel, the contaminated fuel, has indeed gone out.
We heard since about from Friday that there have been some contaminated products on the market. Release that was done by our other consumer group, COPEC and ASAP. So we decided also to do our own private investigations and find out where those products have been sold to and where it leaked from. Our investigations proved nothing. We have been looking across the country, just like what the rubber rice came about. We did all the research, we did our findings. We asked people to even come with samples, and nobody could give us even one shred or one cup of rice that was plastic. This is the same thing that has happened to this one. We surely believe that there is no contaminated fuel on the market. The market on the product are safe. Consumers should be rest assured that when something like this leaks, we will not hesitate but to publish it for the whole world to see. But as I speak to you, what we have gone through, we are here with the national security, we are here with the media men, we are here with MPA. We have assured ourselves that truly not a single contaminated product from BOST, which has gone through Zoop Oil, has gone to the market.
Now, the minority in parliament has described government's $15 billion deal with China as a huge risk for the economy. They say the move will result in unmanageable debt levels for the country, which will stress our businesses. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia announced on return from China over the weekend that the country will leverage its natural resources to get the money to finance developmental projects in the country. Minority spokesperson on finance Atuk Katilforsin tells Joy News the country's economy, which is worth $42 billion with regards to GDP, cannot support such huge debts.
The simple question is, what is the size of Ghana as a country? Ghana's GDP is approximately 42-45 billion Ghana cedis. So they are giving us a debt equivalent to half of this country. Debt to GDP is about 70, 72, 73%. So a debt that is going to increase our GDP, our debt by 50%. So debt is going to move from 70, 72% to about 120, 130% of GDP. So Ghana is going to be HIPIC as a result of this.
Obviously, there's going to be a period of time, not a one-off transaction.
Regardless, you have to also look at economic growth over the period of time. It won't be that great. Whether it will come tomorrow or it will come the next day, this debt is a serious matter. It is going to plunge this country into era of debt distress. We are going to be very stressful as long as that is concerned, and we should be mindful.
They say they are going to leverage our natural resources, which then gives the indication that these amounts will be paid for even over duration that the disbursement will be happening, because it's not as if they're now taking it to come do fresh investments, which will yield for them to pay back. They are leveraging our manganese, our bauxite, and exploring them and using them to pay for
them. Don't let them deceive you with jargons. Leveraging, what is leveraging? With natural resources, are these not part of our revenue base already? This is a new revenue base we are going to see. Don't let them bamboozle you with words. What they will ask is that, how are you going to pay? They will need government of Ghana to provide them guarantees. That guarantee is equivalent to debt. In fact, when you are preparing debt sustainability analysis, the guarantees that government of Ghana provide in the form of sovereign guarantee will be equated as debt and be captured in debt sustainability analysis. So they should not bamboozle you with words that is going to leverage what? What are they leveraging?
Customers of a now-defunct microfinance firm, ComAid, operating at Bolgatanga, have accused the Bulsa South DCE of squandering millions of Ghana cedis they lodged with the company he owned before his current appointment. The angry customers at a news conference in the Upper East Regional Capital say they have so far tried unsuccessfully to retrieve their deposits from the DCE Daniel Garba, who they believe government is shielding. Upper East correspondent Albert Torre reports.
According to the ComAid microfinance customers, Daniel Garba, until his appointment as DCE for Bulsa South, had claimed his company invested the customers' deposits with another microfinance company, God is Love, one of the distressed companies the Bank of Ghana shut down. They challenged the DCE's claim that the funds are locked up with God is Love, arguing his company continued to collect deposits even after the company stopped operations. John Dewu, who read a statement on behalf of the customers, asked government to intervene in the matter.
These are first steps of resolving this case, and we will not relent on our efforts until we retrieve every peso of our investments and savings with him. The outcome of this step will determine our next line of action.
The Bulsa South DCE, Daniel Garba, would not speak on camera but denied the accusations. He tells Joy News, a Bolgatanga High Court has already ruled that his company did not act fraudulently in its dealings with the customers and could therefore not understand why the same group would now go to the media to level the same accusations against him. For Joy News, Albert Sori, reporting from Bolgatanga.
Now, violence affects more than 1 billion children globally. It robs them of their dignity, rights, potential, as well as their future. This is according to World Vision International, a non-governmental organization with focus on protecting the rights of children. National Director at the NGO, Dickens Tunde, says Ghana risks jeopardizing the progress and losing the investments made in child survival, health and education, as well as overall economic development if the fight against child violence is not won. Na Anyoko Jay's report.
According to the 2014 Ghana Demographic Health Survey GDHS, 1 in 4 women marry before the age 18, representing 27%, while 7% are married by age 15. In the northern part of the country, the rates can be as high as 39% of 15-year-olds getting married. Child marriages are as high as 36% in rural areas, as compared to urban areas, which lags around 19%. According to World Vision International, despite the decrease in the rates of child marriage in Ghana from 31.5% in 2008 to 27.2% in 2014, the current rates are still unacceptably high and need to be reduced immediately if Ghana is to meet the SDG target 5.3, which talks about the elimination of child, early and forced marriages. National Director of World Vision International Dickens Tunde says they are embarking on a campaign to complement government efforts to end child marriage in Ghana by 2026.
Here is, in this country, the campaign goal is to contribute to 50% reduction of child marriage by 2021 through the following specific objectives. Improve legal enforcement of child protection laws, especially the Marriage Act 560, and seek to harmonize the sex consensual age of 16 with the marriage age of 18. Challenge social norms and eliminate harmful practices against children. Improve policy implementation to end child marriage. Strengthen institutions and faith communities to care and protect the children from child marriage. Improve child protection and participation of children to end child marriage. And finally, improve incomes of vulnerable households to reduce poverty, which sometimes acts as a driver.
Launch of the campaign is expected to take place at the Jubilee Park in Tamale on Friday, June 30.
The Minister for Inner City and Zongo Development, Alhaji Abubakar Sadiq Boniface, has charged Muslim imams to move beyond leading prayers in the mosque to champion real development in their communities. The minister said this when he joined the Muslim community at Ajurigano here in Accra to install new imams for the area. There is more in the following report.
In all, 3 new imams were crowned to lead the Muslim community in the area. In an interview with Joy News, the Minister for Inner City and Zongo Development said, leading of prayers alone is not enough for imams.
Imamship is a leadership position, and for a great leader, the qualities of a great leader is, 1, to be honest. You must be a good communicator. Your attitude must be upright, and you must be a delegator. You must be somebody who can also delegate and must be upright, and you must be able to inspire the people, because this is religion. And when you are giving a sermon, you must give a sermon that can change the lives of the people, put them on the straight path of Islam. And I believe these are some of the qualities that are required of a Muslim. You must be a unifier. Your preaching must bring people together to understand, especially when people try to align violence to Islam. Islam is the most peaceful religion you can get.
One of the newly crowned imams, Sheikh Abdullah Napari, assured the people of a different type of spiritual leadership.
Be a teacher, a real teacher who leads community towards Allah. And then Imam is supposed to have at the back of his mind that he should think of developing the community in all aspects of life, their education, their welfare, their health, etc. Name them. That is the role of Imam.
Is that what you are going to do?
Bismillah ta'ala, this is our priority.
Now, leadership of the Old Tafo Zongo community in Kumasi has begun consultative meetings to address the drug menace among the youth. It follows Joy News' Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin's report on the phenomenon of juvenile smokers in the area. The report highlighted a high incidence of narcotic abuse, mostly by school dropouts. The community leaders say they seek to integrate addicts and other perpetrators into society. Deputy National Chief Imam of Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, Sheikh Mohammed Kamil Mohammed, speaks for the leadership.
And I call some youth to get up and chase this group where they are. Those who are selling weed, those who are selling cocaine, trauma, and the rest. For us to see where they are and scatter them from that place. And then the youth who are, taking that drugs, my intention is not to sack them away, but to call them and then see those who want to learn some, work or any work that you want, we will send you there to take care of you. And those who want to continue their education, we will send them to school to go to education, because we are not going to sack them to lead them to go and practice this somewhere again. We are trying to put something that we will grab them to change them, not to sack them. As at now, it is only we are with the community center, in Zongo, and with the Seriki in Zongo. This evening he called for the meeting for the youth to take decision. How are they going to, tackle the thing? And they said that tomorrow morning they will come and inform me how the thing is. So after that, we will inform security again. The first meeting we have the Otafo police commander. He attended the scene. So we are going to do it with the help of the security agencies.
That's it for the bulletin. My name is Israel. Have a good night.
This is Joy News Prime.